Hi, Todd Billin. Dang, sad news out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with the news that, if you see it right here, for at least for 24/7 Sports, the number one recruit overall in the country, right? Antonio Alfano, my man from New Jersey, has entered the transfer portal. And this comes on the heels of Nick Saban saying that he's disappeared at a press conference, right? So I'll give you a little background and scoop on this. If anybody remembered the recruiting class breakdown thing that I did, I had a little bit of perspective on Alfano just because I've talked with the kid several times. I had him on, I believe I had him on one of my podcasts. I've known about a long time through my big bro, Coach Kenyatta Watson, being as though I believe he knew somebody at his particular school. I remember Coach K was the coach up at Grayson, and you knew that he has a relationship with pretty much everybody in the country when it comes to high school sports. But this particular person, I'm not sure the relationship, but he kind of co-signed Antonio Alfano early on for me. And Alfano used to hit me up for a little bit of publicity. He would send me all the stuff like when he would get mentioned. But this is before anybody really knew who he was. So I knew he wanted to play football in the South. He made that evident to me, evidently clear to me. And so I was able to really talk with the kid and stuff like that. So I saw him go from a kind of a under-recruited prospect, obviously, to the number one recruit in the nation, according to One Service, and a top 5 overall in the composite. But I knew about him a little bit behind the scenes, right? So I'm always a little weary of people who go to multiple schools, right? I think that ends up following you to college. Not all the time, nothing's ever tried and true, but it's just something to keep in mind, right? So when I first met him, he was at Bergen Catholic, a real big-time powerhouse school up there in New Jersey, I believe. Then something happened right there. He was kicked out of that particular school. Then he went to a school, Rahway, I believe. And then I believe he was actually kicked out of that school as well. So I can't totally corroborate that. But from the intel that I got, this is what I believe to be the case. If that's not the case, then it's all good. But still, the fact that you're going to 3 schools. If you can see right here, he finished up at a Colonia High School there. So that always gives me cause to pause right there. And then him skyrocketing up everything, right? I'm not going to say that it was unwarranted because the kid is a monster, right? He has the body and the build and everything like that. But he plays upper Northeast football, for one. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of tough on me when those guys, because of the competition level out there. He's not really playing against anybody that you're probably going to see on Sundays in the future. Or if he is, it's just a few people, right? It's not in the South where he's playing against a whole bunch of people on his schedule that are going to be 4- and 5-star recruits at the next level. Then that'll matriculate itself into the NFL and stuff like that, right? So that's always a little strange on me. Then when they come to the South to play, it's just a whole different way of an approach of football, especially if you're going to a spot like Alabama. I don't know. It was kind of a weird choice to me to begin with. I actually thought he was going to Georgia at one point in time, right? It looked like he was going to Georgia. I'm not sure what happened with that bad boy, but he ends up at Alabama, and it doesn't really last. I believe he was an early enrollee, so it didn't really last, 6 months? 6, 7, 8, 9 months or something like that. Not even into the season. So that's kind of tough on him right there. A lot of people were actually counting on Antonio Alfano to be something this year because of Todd's lack of depth at his particular position, or at least lack of quality depth, with the lack of experience going around the defensive line on Alabama. So they were saying if he could step right in right away, but that wasn't to be the case. He was a lot more raw than people think. Definitely not the number one overall recruit in the country. But then again, that was 24/7 Sports, and you know what we've said about them before in the past. So tough situation out there, man. Some insider stuff, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. Somebody close to the situation was telling me they don't even know if Antonio Alfano really even likes football, even really, really wants to play football. They say that I said this in our live stream last night. I kind of previewed this right here. I knew that this was coming down the pipe. And they were saying stuff like, man, it was hard to get him out of his room. I don't know if he's just homesick or whatever from New Jersey. He looked like he lived a pretty close family life, but he would be in his room playing video games. I think he was playing like NBA 2K or something like that. I was thinking like, man, that must be a gangsta ass video game. You throwing away your football career with a video game like that. So somebody out there, let me know how good that video game is. I might have to get on it, man. But real talk though, it's sad to see stuff like this. So hopefully he finds himself and bounces back. I found him to be pretty engaging, a pretty cool person when I interacted with him earlier on in his high school career. But we kind of lost touch when he got a little bit more popping, a little bit more popular and stuff like that too as well. So it is what it is. But man, there you go. The Tide having trouble in some aspects with these high-level recruits. The number one prospect I would have to think he would be the number one prospect in this particular class. The previous class before that in 2018, Ayabi Anoma already gone as well. So I don't know what's going on over there, but Alabama will be A-OK. You can believe that, but I just wanted to get some thoughts out on that. So make sure you check me out. Maybe we'll talk about this on the next live stream too. So Alabama fans, hop on that and let me know what you think is going on with Antonio Alfano, even if you care or whatever like that. But wouldn't be surprised he ends up at one of those Northeast type schools. Somebody said something like a Rutgers. I wouldn't mind seeing him at like Boston College though. That would be pretty dope if he can go there. But I think he's a really good talent. We got to see that talent cultivate itself and mature, right? But we all got some maturing to do. But it is what it is. But as always, keep it locked, top Billin. It's your boy Murf, the Underground King, and I am out. Peace.